The White Guy Dies First, 13 Scary Stories of Fear and Power, edited by Terry J. Benton Walker. This is a short story collection, an anthology, all with different authors, targeted for young adults. Now, the whole premise of this story is that a blogger receives a link to a collection of short films by a guy who mysteriously disappeared. Now, these short films are actually each of the stories that you will be reading in the collection. Now, of course, it's called The White Guy Dies First, and they are allegedly real accounts of the supernatural. Each short story includes a common horror trope, and this is highlighted in the table of contents. The goal of each of these stories is to subvert these tropes by decentering cishet white men. Although this is not a spoiler because it is in the table of contents, I am not going to disclose which trope is associated with each story because I want that to be a surprise for you if you want that, but anyway. How I'm going to format this video is I'm going to tell you the name of the short story and give a little blurb with it, and then at the end I'll do an entire overview of the anthology. All Eyes on Me. Great description of micro, borderline macro, aggressions, otherwise unrealistic, but it's kind of camp. Hedge. Botanical horror. A dead father. Brothers and a group of friends fuck around and find out. The Golden Dragon. This one was one of my favorites. Rich, white privilege, and ignorance. A quote that stood out to me was, quote, "There was no karma for people like these, not even the universe wanted to upset them," unquote. This story explores how white people treat people of color as a token and a novelty instead of as a genuine friend. Trigger warning for sexual assault for that previous story. The next one is another one of my favorites, and you will probably guess why. Best served cold. EJ's brother Kai introduces him to this interesting friend who may or may not have yellow eyes in certain lighting and a strange appetite. EJ has heard stories from his indigenous ancestors about what happens to a human that eats their own kind. So many things go wrong in this story. Alright, this next one I did not really like at all. Protege. A magician who happens to be a boy's neighbor entrusts him with an important package. Shenanigans ensue and trouble comes from rivaling sorcerers. Next is another one that I thoroughly enjoyed, and this was Docile Girls. This plays into how people carry biases when it comes to criminal accusations. Showcases two girls that are very fed up with their mostly white high school. Grey Grove. Two girls running a paranormal podcast visit Grey Grove, an abandoned plantation with an unsettling history. This one portrays how white people profit off of black pain. Everything's Coming Up Roses. This one is formatted differently from all the other ones. It is a journal of a girl with questionable sanity and a love for gardening. Now, I'm very picky when it comes to portraying mental illness in horror. I think that it can become a bit trite and